Thanks for tuning in to Living in Downtown Greenville. We've been teaching you about our fine city and buying real estate here, but today we're going to talk food, wine, drink, yeah, everything in between. This is my good friend Stephanie Burnette and my neighbor, and she has wrote the book on Greenville, 100 Things to Do in Greenville, South Carolina, before you die. Emphasis on before you die. So this is your bucket list, so to speak.
Yes, I jokingly sign the book at book signings. Don't die.
Yes, mine says
Dame.
mine says that
Don't die. Because you can't do all 100 things if you're ding dong dead.
If you die before you start the list. But I love it. And if you haven't seen her Instagram profile, you need to follow her on Instagram. Eat, drink, Carolinas. I mean, this is her livelihood. Food and drinks, not just in Greenville, but all over the Southeast. So we are so lucky that you put all of your knowledge in one place for heathens like me who enjoy food and drink. So let's start with how did this come about and how do you narrow it down?
Well, I was asked, which was great. Reedy Press is out of St. Louis, and they reached out and said, we're interviewing potential authors for this book. This is our imprint. We do this all over the U.S., and we'd like to talk to you about Greenvilles. And so it was great. It was about a year and a half ago, and they selected me. And probably the hardest thing was narrowing it down to 100 things. It could have said 1,000 things to do in Greenville, and I would have been like, yep, let's go.
So how do we get, food and drink? I love how you broke the book into sections.
Yes, it is in sections, and because I am a food and travel writer, it's heavily food and drink, and things that, people enjoy coming and visiting Greenville for. But there are different sections. There's a little bit for everybody. I write a lot of articles for magazines, and they're very seasonally driven. What's hot right now? What do you want to do while the weather is nice or chilly or over a holiday? So those are very in the moment articles. Getting to write a book, you get to do something else, which I really enjoy, which was highlight businesses that have that secret sauce. They have figured out who their audience is and how to succeed long term. So this is kind of like a greatest hits almost. And that was really enjoyable because restaurants and bars that made the book really have, passed the test. These are perennial favorites that we do not expect to close and not be in the book anymore.
And what I love is how you covered your normal everyday bar, right, to Maria's Soda Shop, right? And then the fancy, because we do have fancy in downtown Greenville when that's what you're in the mood for.
I mean, as a travel writer and as a traveler, you don't just look for date night dining spots. Nobody goes on vacation and eats at an anniversary dinner 5 nights in a row. And increasingly, especially after the pandemic, we've seen a rise in travel where people want to travel like a local. They want to almost try out a town. So, you want to know where the bagel shop is, where the newsstand is, where to get an afternoon coffee, where, which wine shop can you have a glass of wine at? That's what people want to hear about. And so it was so easy to do in Greenville because Greenville is considered very livable.
And what I love about Greenville is it's like this middle big city, but it feels small and connected.
I just read an article for Eater that I said, Greenville, South Carolina may be a small town, but it eats and drinks a lot better. So you describe it.
That's right.
I need to watch for my job. So you already know what we're talking about.
No, I think you're great. I've enjoyed the book. The thing that jumps out to me, in this food and drink section, I'm sure people are watching and willing to, because a lot of people that watch our channel are thinking about moving to Greenville. So that's our audience here. And what jumped out at me is your love for the community tap, which is like a local hole in the wall. You won't see it on Main Street downtown, but the locals know about it.
Well, one of the really fun things is that the community tap is number one of the 100 things. And when I told them that, they were so excited. And what I didn't tell them is it's not ranked. There are 100 things and you happen to be number one, but you spin that however you want to. No, but Community Tap is so great. It started off as a bottle shop, not for liquor, but for beer and wine, and then turned into this like third space where the neighborhood hangs out. And you can go to a wine tasting, you can go to a beer tasting, you can just bring your laptop and work. They now sell lots of great local products. They're next door to one of legitimately the best gift stores I've seen in the Southeast called Urban Digs. So it's a really special place. And if anybody follows me, follows the things that I write about, unless an editor's being really nasty, I always talk about parking.
Yes. Parking is huge.
Parking is important. And Greenville has a lot of places that have wonderful parking, and I would say Community Tap is on top of it. So when people talk about like, oh, let's go pop in and get a drink, or let's go pop in and have a snack, you know, a pop-in situation is we can easily park there.
Or walk.
Or golf cart, or push a stroller. So one of the things I think I really love about Greenville is lots of easy parking.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's just so fun.
And for now, right, downtown on Main Street is free parking if you could find a spot. I think that's also one of the rare things about our.
I think something that's growing right now, though, in Greenville, because I probably visit, I would say 3 to 4 dozen Greenville-sized towns per year on assignment in the Southeast specifically, is that we're starting to see Greenville boroughize. We're starting to see the downtown tourism situation branch out into the neighborhoods. So we're starting to see little city centers in neighborhoods. And I think that's new for Greenville, and I think it's smart. So we're starting to have places like in North Main, there's Community Tap and U-Joint and Bohemian, and now the Black Sheep. And that's starting to feel like our neighborhood city center. But then if we go to historic Overbrook, now we have the brand new Camino Wine Shop across from Fork and Plow, next to Oasis Day Spa. So we're starting to see these hubs of really kind of retail goodness that is independently owned and makes those neighborhoods feel super special. A lot of what you do when you write a book like this, or you're writing a travel article, is you're trying to find a fingerprint. And what we describe as the fingerprint is if 3 months from now, I can still remember a place that I shopped or I ate or I drank or I bought something at, then that neighborhood left a fingerprint on me. So
Absolutely. Again, you want to be remembered and you want to stand out.
And I think independently owned businesses are what often do that for us. If you're walking into a shop that you can walk into in the place that you live, it's so homogenized it doesn't quite feel special anymore. And Greenville, the last statistic I heard, Main Street has over 200 independently owned restaurants.
Wow.
Main Street.
Wow, that's a lot of competition.
It's a lot of competition, but they're also making out.
Yeah. And I mean, to me, there's always something new to try. And I feel like we cover a lot of ground. You know, it's not just like a brewery, or it's not just a burger place or a pizza place.
Oh, can I tell you a funny story?
Please.
Okay, so I moved here from Atlanta in 1998. And downtown was not what it is now. In fact, a lot of downtown had a lot of plywood on its shops and buildings. And I coined this phrase. I used to say, there's not much between Subway and Sobeys. Well, Subway Sandwich Shop was across the street from the Hyatt.
Right.
And about 6 blocks down was our like really first cutie patootie dining restaurant, Sobeys. And the joke was there's not much between Subway and Sobeys. Well, after a while, there was a lot between Subway and Sobeys. So I changed this iteration. Still, there's not much between Subway and Sobeys because we had a lot of sandwich shops, really casual large places, and we had a lot of date night dining places and not much mid-range dining. Well, let's just throw all of that out. We have everything now. There's a ton between Subway and Sobeys.
Absolutely.
And so I can't use my funny little alliterative phrase anymore.
Well, thank you for sharing it with us. What I like is sort of the fast casual concept.
So that's mostly called counter service now. Yeah, they're calling it counter service. So you typically order at a counter and sit down, but it's still brought out to you. Mm-hmm. And counter service kind of bridged the gap between fast food and full service dining and really occurred around 2018 across the Southeast. We're seeing a lot of great concepts in the last couple of years here. And once again, they're independently owned.
Well, let's dish. Let's talk about your favorite counter service.
Oh. Probably Comal 864, I think is super special. Not downtown, in the burgeoning Midtown.
I saw you there, right?
Yes, we bumped into each other there. I may have been delivering books there.
I think you might have been.
It is in the book.
This is the smallness of Greenville.
Yes. They have opened a new tequila bar. It's an additive-free tequila bar and really features a lot of female-made tequila, and it's called the Scorpion. So it is part of Comal 864, but it stays open later, more like a traditional bar at Comal. But your food at Comal, you're going to go up to the counter, and they're going to bring it out to you.
What's your favorite thing on the menu?
I mean, I think everybody would say the birria quesadilla tacos. However, I really love her breakfast items. I think her breakfast tacos are amazing. Also, on Saturday mornings, one of their bartenders, Casey, is doing Saturday morning cartoons. She's making cereal-themed cocktails and showing cartoons on TVs.
Oh, I love it.
I love it.
And
if you could dream it, it will happen.
And I also love what the chef is doing for our community.
So she has a giant heart. She has done a community Thanksgiving meal and a community Christmas meal every year. It started one year when she was a brand new resident in Greenville, and I think 30 people showed up, and last year they had over 650.
I mean, it's just incredible.
Yeah,
it's just
incredible.
And let's talk fancy special occasion. You're coming here to visit. Maybe you're going to both.
Scoundrel. Go to Scoundrel.
I love
which I don't bring with the chef Joe Cash came from Per Se. So he worked for the Thomas Keller Group in Manhattan, but he grew up here and he returned here with his young family. He's like Jocelyn. They now have 2 children. The doc is spectacular. His Caesar salad is about to be in an upcoming magazine issue. His chocolate cake is his grandmother's cocoa powder layer cake recipe. He says it will never leave the menu and he will never change the recipe.
Oh, I love it.
There's a lot of date night dining though. So, I love sitting on the balcony at Gianna. I love going to, the Anchorage and doing a lot of farm to table or topsoil in Tractor's Rest. And I mean, as I'm saying these places, I'm literally e-bopping around the map of Greenville and its bedroom communities. There are a lot of special places to eat. I really love going Fork and Plow for brunch. I think it's hard to beat Fork and Plow's brunch.
And the races, they're incredible.
And I like you sit at the bar. Mm-hmm. They have a mimosa that they make this orange juice cube out of like a bourbon cube size, and then they pour coglet over it. And if you get to the bottom and you still have orange juice cube left, they'll top you off a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's really cool, that presentation.
It's really fun. Chef Sean Pelly is a really, really solid chef. And my son worked for him last Christmas.
And they
ran food.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And what I love about Fork and Plow is they change that menu up so often, isn't it? Twice a day?
Yes. I mean, their lunch and dinner menu is so different. And I mean, I think that feels special in the context of America's dining scene, that in Greenville, we are so farm driven that it's kind of to be expected as a diner here.